better not be the one to doubt us, 'cause we've been putting in the hours. We only taking what was ours. So you better not be the one to doubt us, 'cause we gon' blow your mind.
Competition for the top gymnasts in the country, all vying to earn national medals in individual and all-around competition and a spot on this year's Team USA. And now, the gymnasts that are here to compete in the 2017 P&G Gymnastics Championships. Starting out on floor exercise for Scats, Daniel Yoon. For New England Academy, Jan Inhaber-Corsane. For University of Nebraska-Lincoln, Griffin Kaler. For New England Academy, Michael Fletcher. For Flip Force, Nehemiah Baker. And for Ohio State University, Max Andriushenko. Starting off on pommel horse for Preston's American, Liam Doherty Hurwitz. For Cartersville Twisters, Brodie Malone. For Liberty Gymnastics, Jordan Williams. For South Lake, Alan Camillas. For South Lake, Morgan Seiler. And for Hayden's International, Kamran Nelson. Beginning today's competition on still rings for Paik, Matthew Randolph. For Woga, Joshua Davis. For Champions, Khalil Jackson. For LaFleur's, Evan Criley. For Technique, Riley Luce. For Kingdom, Nikita Bolotsky. And for Woga, David Patinka. And now, starting on vault, for Acrotex, Colt Walker. For Gymnastics Olympica, Dylan Young. For Waller's Gym Jam, Jeremy Bischoff. For Triumph, Dante McKinney. For Tag USA, Crew Bold. For Gymnastics Olympica, Samuel Phillip. And for High Point, David Willett. Starting off on parallel bars. For Omega, Spencer Goodell. For Universal, Justin Otchow. For 5280, Vitali Amira. For Michigan Elite, Michael Giroux. And for Universal, Travis Wong. And starting off on high bar, for Cyprus Academy, Evan Davis. John Chow, Ian Gunther, and Garrett Bronson. From Buffalo Grove, Paul Judah. And from Cyprus Academy, Jack Freeman. These are the junior men competing in the 2017 P&G Gymnastics Championships. At this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats. Here to perform on her national anthem tour from La Mirada, California, Brittany Fischelli.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming? whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet waved o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Thank you.
Brittany Fischelli. Gymnasts may now prepare for their first event in today's P&G Championships. Gymnasts may now begin their warm-up for rotation 1. Please join us in welcoming our national and internationally certified judges from USA Gymnastics for the 2017 P&G Gymnastics Championships for men. The technical director is Butch Zudich. Officiating on floor exercise are Tom McNamee, Brian Meeker, Scott Schaefer, and Zach Gagnon. The judges on pommel horse are George Crink, Jonathan Corbett, Chris Adams, and Sho Nakamori. Judging on rings, Garrett DeJong, Lenny Lucarello, Brian Richmond, and Greg Kester. The judges on vault are Craig Nesbitt, Jerry Donahue, Ron Hill, and Kevin Munez. On parallel bars, Mark Sherman, Dean Schott, Will Fontanez, and Nate Dodson. And the judges on high bar are Michael Ash, Mike Jessick, David Johnson, and Nat Hammond.
gymnastics fans, and welcome back to the 2017 P&G Gymnastics Championships. We are back inside the Honda Center. I'm Samantha Peshek, and I'm alongside two-time Olympian Jonathan Horton, and we are so pumped for the meet to start because there will be two junior national champions that are going to be named. Just to recap, though, for a little bit, on day one of competition, we saw a lot of good things, but we also saw a lot of mistakes. They had one opportunity to practice yesterday. What was that like for them?
Well, it's probably pretty laid back. It's an intense competition. There's a day between, and now we're at finals. So you really don't want to make yourself too tired. You want to try to, get yourself kind of loose, knock out some of that soreness, maybe work up a little bit of a sweat. It's really not a day to try to fix the mistakes. It's a day to try to figure out what went wrong and how can I be better in finals.
What do you think their mental training was like yesterday coming into the final day of competition?
I'd say that's probably the majority of what they did. Close your eyes, visualize, see yourself either A, do what you did well again, or B, fix the mistakes that you made. I know when I was competing, probably you're the same. If we make a mistake, you want to go back in your mind and figure out, how do I do better?
Yeah.
Because under the lights, under the pressure of this event, the biggest event of the year, it's easy to make weird mistakes.
Yeah, I also had the opportunity to
will
speak
now
to
begin.
the high-performance director yesterday, Brett McClure, and he said we're expecting better.
On pommel horse for
and
Breastions,
here goes.
Liam
Daniel
Doherty
Yoon is up
Hurwitz.
first on vault.
On rings for Paik, Matthew Randolph. On vault for Acrotex, Colt Walker. On parallel bars for Omega,
currently
Spencer
sitting
Goodell.
in
And on high
ninth
bar
place
for
in
Cyprus,
the all-around.
Evan Davis.
And specifically on this event, he's ranked 4th. He had a 1/10 deduction from going outside the lines. On floor.
Starts off with a nice double layout, just a small step. Floor's a great event to start on. There's a lot of adrenaline when you first step up on that first event, especially in finals. And it's easy to overdo things, but it's also kind of nice that adrenaline can really, you can use it to your advantage, especially when you mount the floor with a nice double layout like that.
That's right. Well, on day one, he scored an 11.05. He had a 4.0 start value and a 7.05 execution. So what is he going to try to improve today?
Well, Daniel had a little bit of a rough first day, and I think right now the game is do what you know how to do, shoot for par. Don't try to be too perfect in an event like this. Full to front 1.5. Very nice. One and a half to front full. See a lot of these combination
Colt
passes.
Walker
front full to front 1.5,
back
1.5 to front full.
Coming up next on rings
Double
for Wogo
full.
will be Joshua Davis.
Big step.
Daniel Yoon.
But, solid start for Daniel. You see the clap. He's happy with that. It's nice to get a good,
up next on
solid
floor
hit
for New
routine
England, Jan
to start off the
Inhaber
meet.
Corsain. Liam Doherty
Colt
Hurwitz
Walker
of Preston's on
vault.
pommel horse. Up next on pommel horse for Cartersville
Doing
Twisters will be Brodie Malone.
2.5. A little bit rough on the form on entry of the vault, but can't go wrong with landing nicely on your feet like that.
Bars.
Hey, we've seen
Up
2
next
hit
on
routines so
P&G
far.
for
They are on a
Universal will
roll.
be Justin Chow.
Up next on vault is Dylan Young from Gymnastics Olympica. And two
Evan
names that we
Davis
will
of
unfortunately
Cyprus
not
on high
be
bar.
seeing in today's competition
next
are
on high
Corinne
bar
Phillips and
for
Alexi
Cyprus will be
Vernier.
John
They
Chow.
unfortunately had to scratch. So in case you're looking for them, unfortunately we will not be seeing them. This is Justin A. Chow
Coming
from
up next
Universal.
on vault for Gymnastics Olympica,
Justin's
Dylan
got
Young.
a nice line. Very aesthetically pleasing gymnast to watch. So far, really taking his time, which is nice. Smooth gymnastics.
He's sitting in 4th place after the first day of competition, so he's looking for a hit.
Double pike dismount. Small step, but he's happy with that. We didn't see the whole routine, but you can see his coach Ian Alvarez over there is obviously very excited about that routine.
As animated as ever.
Up next on P-bars.
I wish someone would get that animated for us commentating.
Coming up on
But again,
rings
for those
for
of you
Champions
guys
Texas,
watching,
Khalil
make sure
Jackson.
you tweet us at J_Horton and at Samantha Peshek so we can be more engaging and tell you guys what's going on and what you guys want to hear.
Yeah, we'd love to answer some questions. And, men's gymnastics is pretty complicated, especially I know everybody's always like, what is happening on pommel horse? So if you have any questions, just tweet at us. We'd love to answer them.
And we're back. Dylan Young is about to go on his vault.
Another Souk vault. Very nicely
Dylan
done. It
Young
almost
of
stuck it.
Gymnastics Olympica
Good
on
form.
vault.
And that's 2 days in a row for his vault, being great execution.
Coming up next on vault for Waller's Gym Jam will be Jeremy
So
Bischoff.
far, this has been, day one, we were fairly critical with the junior men. A lot of mistakes, really up and down. Also,
They heard your pep talk from
Yeah.
day one. That's what happened.
It's tough. A lot of these guys have never been on this stage of the sport before, so the nerves were definitely there day one. So far, I hope I'm not jinxing anybody, but it seems like the nerves are a little bit more in check right off the bat.
Here goes Brodie Malone on Pommels. And another added factor to this competition, it's a 2-day competition. So for all these juniors, I think it's good. They can fix their mistakes, but because it's a 2-day competition, they are a little bit more tired.
Chow of
Oh,
Cyprus
and
on
Brodie
high
with
bar.
a phenomenal
Jan
horse
Inhaber
routine.
of New England Academy
until
on
the
floor
dismount.
exercise.
He just missed his hands. You can see his coach right there. I think he's asking, did he get credit for the dismount?
Coming up next on high bar for Cyprus
This
will
is
be Ian
Khalil
Gunther.
Jackson from
Up
Champions in
next on
Texas
floor
on
for
rings.
Nebraska, Griffin Kaler.
Some nice double front skills on rings called Yamawakis.
He's in 9th place after the first day with a
Jeremy
12.9.
Bischoff of Waller's Gym
Very
Jam
high
on
execution.
vault.
It's typical for him to go above an 8.0.
Brodie Malone of Cartersville Twisters on pommel horse.
Good giant
Up
elements.
next on
Just a
pommel
little
horse
bit
for
wobbly
Liberty
in those
will be
handstands.
Jordan
I'd like to see
Williams.
his rings turned a little more parallel to each other. Half and half out, stick dismount.
Khalil
Good
Jackson
start. And I know
of
we didn't get to
Champions
see
Texas
what
on
happened
rings.
with Brodie over on pommel horse, but he did
Coming up on
do
vault for
another
Triumph,
dismount.
Dante
Was
McKinney.
really well done. That was such a great routine, just a weird mistake at the end.
This is Griffin Kaler on floor.
Up next on rings for
He scored a
LaFleur's Tampa,
12.6
Evan
on the first
Criley.
day, 5.2 start value with a 7.4 execution, so that is where he's going to want to make up the difference.
Very nice full twisting double back. Layout to double full. That's a difficult pass. Front double fulls, they're blind landings. Don't really see the ground too well. Tough to stick. 2.5 to Branny, or a front half. One and a half, small hop. I'd like to see the chest up a little bit more on those landings.
Vitali Amira of 52.80 on parallel bars.
Just a nice little quiet passage in the routine to catch his
Dante
breath.
McKinney
He's
of
fighting for all
Triumph
those
on
execution
vault.
points.
Back 1.5
That
to
was
front
Michael
full.
Giroux of Michigan
Lot of
Elite on
control.
parallel bars.
Even from the few routines we've seen, we can tell the intensity, the focus is a little bit different than day one.
Back double full.
Griffin
Small hop,
Kaler
great
of
routine.
Nebraska
Very,
on
very,
floor
I mentioned
exercise.
control. That's something that the judges are looking for.
Up next on
is
parallel
can you
bars for
land, and
Universal
even if
will
it's a
be
small
Travis
hop, does
Wong.
it look like you have control over that small
Coming
hop?
up on vault for Tag USA, Crew
On
Gold.
rings is Evan Criley from LaFleur's in Tampa.
That was Ian Gunther of Cyprus on high bar. Up next on high bar for Cyprus will be Garrett Branton.
His dismount, half and half
Evan
out.
Criley of LaFleur's Tampa on rings. Coming up on floor exercise for New England will be Michael Fletcher.
Travis Wong is up next from Universal on P-bars. What's Yin saying right there?
I have no idea. You know what? I've had the pleasure of competing alongside the great Danelle Leyva for many,
Yes.
many years, and Yin is Danelle's stepfather, and I've been on the floor competing alongside with Yin in my ear, and I don't even know what he said to me in the past.
Does it pump you up? It pumps me up just watching. I am ready for Travis's P-bar routine right now. You can see the superstitions that he was doing we talked about on day one.
Yeah, just a lot of rituals that he does, you know, the clapping and the thing that he does with the ears and the kissing of their foreheads.
It's probably a good and bad thing.
You know, the guys get used to it, but, you know, Yin, he's just, like you said, he's a really animated guy. Very nice peach element to a Diamondov. That's called a giant. You see a lot of these elements where the guys go from handstand, drop below the bars, and then come back up. Call them underbar skills. And if you're wondering, is it hard on the hands? The answer is yes. He's got a lot of them.
Day one, he scored an 11.3 on this event with a 7.0 execution.
Double tuck dismount. You know, that was a great routine, but I'm going to be a little critical of him on that dismount. He landed really well. That was a 3/10 step that he took. I don't think he needed to take that step. He could have minimized it to, if you take a step that is bigger than the size of your foot, basically.
You mean that one?
Yeah, those couple 3/10 steps. But if it's small, it's 1/10. And you want to save those tenths every chance you can.
This is Michael Fletcher on floor, working on fixing those landings and gaining control like we discussed on the last floor routine.
Landings are so important.
But even all the landings we're seeing today are much more controlled, and one more day at P&G Championships for that experience, it looks like has helped them tremendously.
Absolutely, and you know, we mentioned these guys, a lot of them, it's their first P&G Championships. This is the meat of the year. This is nationals, and so there's a lot of nerves, and first time out, it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
There's almost a type of panic.
Right.
I've worked really hard for this. I don't want to make mistakes, and so first day can be kind of rough, but it looks like so far very nice 2.5 dismount. People have some control of their gymnastics today.
Yep, definitely. We talk about nerves coming into play here at this competition. I think there's two ways to handle nerves. But first, this is Paul Jude on a high bar. There's two ways to handle your nerves. You can let it affect you and get really nervous, or you can be proud of all your hard work. And we're seeing a different attitude coming into today's competition with these junior men.
Yes, absolutely. And this is a nice, very aggressive high bar routine. Started out with a release element called a Yamawaki. That's called a jam. Those are called inverted giants. Winding up for a dismount. Full twisting double layout. And I mean, just a great routine. And I hope we see this momentum just continue through the competition, because this is a different competition than day one.
This is Garrett Branton from Cyprus.
Garrett had a great first day. Had the pleasure of watching this guy grow up and train the past few years. Trains at Cyprus Academy, where I trained my whole career under Tom Meadows.
It's definitely a hot shot to watch in day one, and the question is, can he do it again today? He's 9th on high bar after the first day of competition with a 12.6.
That's a nice skill called a quast. Winding up for his dismount, full twisting double layout, and we're seeing some good stuff right now. Coach Tom Meadows was excited as well.
He scored a 12.7 on that routine, and it's pretty consistent from day one, and that's what the national team staff is looking for here in this competition.
Yeah, it's all about who's going to step up to the senior ranks from here. There's a, junior competition. It's a lot of guys trying new routines, new skills. The question is, who's ready for the next level?
Says Morgan Seiler from Southlake up next on Pommel Horse. Two other names that we will unfortunately not be able to see this afternoon's competition, Lazarus, Barnell, and Kevin Penev. They actually got invited to compete in the senior session. How does that work, John?
Yeah, they had a great day, and they actually outscored a few of the seniors, and so they got to have a choice whether they want to compete in the junior session this morning or with the seniors this evening. Now, what's kind of hard about that decision is, because they're going to compete as seniors, they can't actually accept any awards as a junior now. They are 100% competing against the seniors, but they've decided to do it, and it's a great honor to be able to go out as a junior, especially for Lazarus as a 15, 16-year-old, to be able to go compete with the seniors. Not a lot of people get that opportunity.
Well, I checked their scores, and after day one, they would be sitting in 17th, both of them, in the senior competition. But like you said, I think it's more about the experience than the actual ranking at that point.
Absolutely, and I also want to just mention this is a good Pommel Horse routine so far. Very nice and smooth. A little bit of a struggle on the dismount, but they got through it. The name of the game on Pommel Horse is just stay on.
This is David Patinka from Woga.
Nice strong straddle planche. Good handstand position. You know, the rings is all about who's the strongest, but at the junior level, these guys haven't quite developed the strength of the seniors yet, so it's really a lot of swing elements. That was a nice double-double dismount. Won't see too many of those today. It's a very difficult dismount, but rings is a tough event because you learn how to swing, and then when you get older, it's how strong can I push myself to get. See a lot of the top gymnasts in the world on rings doing 5, 6, 7 strength elements, iron crosses, Malteses. You won't see that too much out of the juniors.
And Max and Yushchenko here on floor is not necessarily worried about the strength here on his floor routine, but the power and the control in those landings we've been chatting about.
Yeah, great first pass. Double front with a half. Double full front half. Stuck it cold.
He had a 1/10 deduction on day 1 for going out of bounds. So I know that's a focus for him here.
Full twisting double. I mean, this is a tough routine. I mean, there's a lot of big skills in this.
He only scored a 12.95 on day 1, and this is really one of those events for him that he has more potential that he's hoping to show here today.
Front layout, front full. Oh, a little bit of a misstep there.
Sometimes that happens. You're so focused on the big skills. It's the little things that trip you up.
Oh, and a great save. It would have been really, really easy to sit that down. You can see it in his face. But, you know, that was a very difficult routine. That first pass, you won't, I don't know if we'll see that again today. It was a double front with a half. High level of difficulty. Got through it, stayed on his feet.
He's currently sitting in 5th after day 1, and I know he is itching to get higher in the ranking. That concludes the first rotation of the 2017 P&G Championships for day 2 of junior men. We'll see you on rotation number 2.
Miami equals black mask, black gloves with a little bit of rope to tie. I flipped it. Black suits, white shirts, black glasses with a matching tie. Like Agent J or Agent K, and I wish the whole world would. Okay, I'm trying to make $1 billion out of 15 cents. Understand, understood, I'm a hoe. Yeah, mover, shaker, culture. Barrier border, record breaker, won't you? Give credit where credit is due. Don't you know that I don't give a number two? Y'all just halfway thoughts, not worth the back of my mind. But to understand the future, we have to go back in time. I got the glow, yeah, in the palm of my hand. Wherever I spin it, that's where I land. Let's save the world, men in black, I know you understand. Stop the movement. They can try if they want to. Ignorar los latinos, sí. They can try if they want to. What Pitt saw's a bit raw. Took like jigsaw and built it all. Despite a big loss, I bet it all. Ain't fought blind against the world, Ray Charles. Y'all just halfway thoughts, not worth the back of my mind. But to understand the future, we have to go back in time.
Take a hit, feeling lit, feeling right. 2 a.m. summer night, I don't care. Hand on the wheel, driving drunk, I'm doing my thing. Rolling the mid beside and out, living my life, getting our dreams. I'ma do just what I want, looking ahead, no turning back. People told me slow my roll. I'm screaming out, fuck that. I'm screaming out, fuck that. I'm screaming out, fuck that.
Welcome back to rotation number 2. It's the final day of competition for these junior men. Started off really strong, significantly better than day 1 of competition. I think they brought their game faces on. What do you think?
Looks much, much better. Everybody seems a lot more calm, doing some smooth gymnastics.
This is Brodie Malone from Cartersville Twister, and he's getting ready for his second rotation on rings right now. And actually, we were discussing how Lazarus, Barnell, and Kevin Penev are not with the junior session today. They're getting to compete with the senior session because they were invited. But you know who else was invited? Brodie Malone and Vitali Amira. And guess what? They declined. They actually wanted the opportunity to continue competing with the juniors and have a chance at the junior national title. You've been invited to the senior session, and you've also been a junior national champion. So what do you think about all that?
Well, you know, like I said earlier, it's a tough decision to make because you wanna have that title as junior national champion, but the opportunity to compete with the seniors is a big deal. And you know, either decision is a great one because to compete here, get the experience, and think to myself, I'll be a senior eventually is great. But those other guys probably pretty excited to get out there. Well, I like to call the big show, be in front of the crowd at the senior competition. So, you know, it definitely affects the standings because those other 2 guys competing with the seniors, they won't be able to receive any junior awards. But like I said, it's just an honor to be a part of it. And either way, it's a good decision.
He's currently sitting in first place in the 17 to 18-year-old division after day 1 with an 81.3. Here on rings, he's ranked second with a 13.65, and I did the math. If he did go to the senior session, he would be ranked 11th. So it's the difference between trying to win a junior national title and like you said, maybe just the experience, because it looks like he might not get a medal in the senior session.
Oh, great routine. Great 1.5 twisting double dismount. And, you know, I think he definitely wanted that routine because he did make a mistake on pommel horse on his dismount after a great pommel horse routine. It was good to see him come back and have a great ring set.
Well, Vitali Amira, who's ranked second after the first day of competition, also declined going to the senior session. He is right on his tail. So Brodie doesn't want to make too many mistakes.
Maybe that's what these guys wanted. You know, they wanted to have a nice little battle to the finish in the junior ranks. And you know, like I said, both of these guys, they're gonna have their time to shine as seniors.
This is Griffin Kaler from the University of Nebraska, next on pommel horse.
See a lot of the athletes on pommel horse starting out with what we call scissor elements and then get into the swinging. A little bit of a struggle there. Like to see him extend his hips a little bit more. You don't want to see a break in the body position. The goal is to be completely straight as you're circling. A little bit of a fight there, but again, we're just seeing people kind of use some grit today, get through the routines.
And I think that's different from what we saw the first day of competition, where the grit was a little bit lacking and a little bit mindless mistakes. They made some silly ones that we saw day one, but, you know, nerves could have played into that too. This is Gunther from Cyprus. Another one of those competitors that's hoping to have a better day today.
You know, and I mentioned day one, you know, Ian, to be doing floor and even vaults is pretty impressive. This is a kid that I've trained with and has had a lot of knee problems. And so it's been just a constant battle, but to see what this guy does on the other events is pretty impressive. He's a great athlete. Happy to just see him out here giving it what he's got on floor.
And we've been critical because we know their potential, but it really is just an honor to be competing at this competition and to even qualify here to the 2017 P&G Championships.
Double full dismount, good finish. Not a difficult routine, did put his hands down on a double pike, but good to see him get through it. He'll move on. His next event is his best, which is pommel horse.
Says Michael Fletcher on pommels up next. With Kevin Penev joining the senior section, that makes Michael Fletcher third in the all-around after day one. He has a very low start value on this event. It's only a 3.9. His execution was great the first day, and I know that's what he's hoping to do right here.
Yeah, not a lot of difficulty, just a couple travels back and forth. Bit of a struggle on the dismount, but a lot of the juniors you'll see, there's a huge gap in difficulty from junior to senior level. And it's because these guys, I mean, they're just in such a development phase. They're just trying to get comfortable with what they're doing, be comfortable with hitting simplified routines on a big stage like this. So not a bad thing to see a low start value, but a hit.
This is our current second place competitor, Vitali Amira, from 52.80.
He's got a great line.
He started strong with a 12.55 on his first rotation on P-bars.
It's a nice element called a ribalco. It's a hop 1.5 over the bar. See a lot of these skills where the guys straddle their legs and do giants. They're called stalders and endos. A stalder is backwards, and endo is when they're in the under grip going forwards. That's a stalder. Winding up for his dismount. Double twisting, double tuck. Great routine. Stuck landing. He's going to be happy about that one.
Told the judges to check that out. This is Garrett Branton on floor for Cyprus. Currently sitting in second place in the 15 to 16-year-old division.
Nice full in to start the routine. Back half, front full. so far. Very, very nice. Garrett has definitely been a gamer this week.
He's currently tied for 4th on this event, and I remember watching him day one. He was a standout for us as well. Just very confident and very seriously focused on every single detail of his routine. And I think that's what stands out about him.
Coming up on high bar for Michigan Elite,
Utilizing a couple of the non-acrobatic elements which are required. 2 press handstands, 1 wide arm handstand, and 1 normal handstand. There's his dismount. Back 2.5. Beautifully done.
It looked easy. Where's the triple?
There's very little deduction in that routine. It's hard for the judges to really take off anything. Just so well executed.
And that's when you know an athlete is well prepared. When the routine looks easy, he's smiling, running off, doesn't even look out of breath, and that's showing really great potential for the future. This is a replay of Dylan Young on P-bars.
Starting off his routine with an element called a peach. Just a little bit short of handstand. Had to bend his arms to save it. That's a very nicely done to pelt.
He's tied for 5th on this after day one.
It's important to note on parallel bars how often the athletes shift their hands back and forth. It's a 1/10 error every time. He's done a great job. I haven't seen him do it once. Double tuck. The only big error in that routine was the big step on the landing, but that was really well executed. This is, I know I've said it already. This is such a different gymnastics event today. You know, for those of you that are tuning in and also watch the preliminaries, it was
It's almost like we're watching different athletes compete.
Yeah, I don't even know how to explain day one. The guys were just all over the place, and we were fairly critical. Today has been fantastic.
This is Paul Judah from Buffalo Grove up next on floor. He's tied for 4th on this event with a 13.2. His execution score is a 7.7. He's got a great start value with a 5.5, so it's really cleaning up this routine. That's the game right here.
Big element, double twisting double. One of the harder skills you'll see on floor today, actually an E value.
His legs were glued together.
Another very difficult skill. Front 2.5, another E-valued skill. Back 1.5, front double full. This routine is jam-packed with difficulty. Hardest routine we've seen so far.
He has the potential to get a medal on this. He has the highest start value in the competition. Oh.
And you know what? That's the tough part when, you know, in the junior ranks, these guys that are pushing some of these harder routines, it's tough to just have the experience to go out there and do a routine this difficulty when you're this young. But I love to see that he's going for it, because if you think about a couple of years from now where he's going to be with this, it's going to be spot on. Dismounting with a double full, and that was such a good routine with the exception of that one pass, and he knows it.
And it's good to see him finish strong. With a stuck landing, he's holding his head high, walking off the floor. He's got to be bummed. This is Max Yushchenko on Pommels.
Just kind of struggling to keep the form a little bit here throughout this routine.
He scored a 12 on day one.
Sticking with it, though.
What do you think is a good score on this event for these juniors?
You know, if you can break into the 13s at all, that's a pretty solid score. You know, 11.6 is you know, a bit of a combination of low start value and some execution errors. But a 13 or more is really, really good.
This is Liam Doherty Hurwitz from Breschens. Is it different on rings?
The scores?
Yes.
Yeah, you know, right now, if you see a score in the 14s, that's massive. If you see something in the 13s, that's really what these guys are all shooting for. We're going to see a lot of 11s. We're going to see a lot of 12s.
Are there certain events that develop faster than others?
Rings, well, since we're watching rings, this one develops last. Rings is so tough. You know, the men really don't get their strength until they're 20, 21, 22 years old when they start to reach their peak. So rings is tough at the junior level. Taking a look at Jack Freeman here. One of my teammates from Cyprus Academy just mounted with a beautiful tuck double-double. Front 2.5.
If you remember his routine from day one, he actually had 3/10 of out of bounds.
Yeah, definitely want to try to stay in bounds today. He's very, very good on this event.
Also another high start value of 5.1. With Lazarus joining the senior session, Jack Freeman is currently in first place, and that's with those 3/10 deduction from the first day.
Jack's a lot of fun to train with. I had the privilege of training with him for a long time, and good kid, fun guy to be around. Oh, great save staying in bounds. But I give him a hard time, but I'll talk him up right now. He's doing a great flow routine. Triple full dismount. You know, he stepped out, but that's a very difficult routine as well.
Well, it was an improvement from day one. We got 1/10 out of bounds instead of 3. This is Colt Walker on P-bars from Acrotex.
Starts off with another underbar element. A lot of the guys try to get the underbar elements out of the way first because it's easy for your hands to not only get tired but actually get kind of sweaty on the bars. It's tougher to hang on towards the end of a routine if you don't get them out of the way first. And then you see the upper bar elements later. Double tuck dismount. Well done.
He's having a great day. And he looks like he's having a good time, too.
Yeah.
This is Evan Davis from Cyprus. Another guy you might know.
Yep, all of these Cyprus guys, you know, I've watched them develop throughout the years. Evan's another one that just has so much talent. It's great to see him out here. Nice full twisting double back. Two and a half, good fight.
He also was one of those competitors on day one that had 3/10 of out of bounds on this event.
Did not have his best day, made a lot of strange errors. He'll want to get some redemption today. Nice low wide arm handstand. That's what the judges are looking for. You almost want your forehead on the ground to not be a deduction.
He has a pretty good start value. It's a 4.7. But he's losing a little bit of execution here.
Yeah, that was a strange mistake on that press handstand. Back half. It's a front 1.5. A little bit low on the landing. Dismounts with a double full. Couple weird mistakes in there, but
again, such a step up from day one of competition. We're about to head into rotation 3, so we'll see you soon.
You know it's me now. Yeah, who is it? Well, he's back
sound of the radio. To the sound of the beat. To the sound of the radio. Yeah, to the sound of the beat. To the sound of the radio. To the sound of the beat. To the sound of the radio. Yeah, to the sound of the beat. To the sound of the radio. To the sound of the beat.
Here we go again, folks. I'ma show you how to do this, son. Hey. Big things poppin', and little things stoppin'. Hey. Big things poppin', and little things stoppin'. Hey. Big things poppin', and little things stoppin'. Hey. Ball on these suckers, shout it, lose, it's not an option now. Do it, do it, do it, what you waiting for? Cause I'ma do it, do it, what you waiting for? Do it, do it, do it, what you waiting for? Do it, do it, do it. Now let me hear you say, big things poppin', and little things stoppin'. Big things poppin', and little things stoppin'. Big things poppin', and little things stoppin'. Ball on these suckers, shout it, lose, it's not an option now. Do it to the maximum. Take it while you asking them. Don't listen to them sucker when they say you too irrational. I said I was king and them lanes started laughing. No, same sucker now, want the king on the track. I compose several classicals, you know, like Top Bad, dope boy, bring them out and what you know about that. Now they ask high top, what you know about that. Dominated old sick, now I'm going right back. See me rain, let her show just like that. Either this hell say, I ain't know it like that. Yeah, still bankhead, you can tell. Ain't nothing changed but the name on the mail. I still kicking door with them things in the air. Up in Benny Hunter, see me slang in them jail. We a slang, no such thing as a jail. Say you need 100 squares, it just came off the scale. Let's do it, do it, do it, what you waiting for? Cause I'ma do it, do it, what you waiting for? Do it, do it, do it, what you waiting for? Do it, do it, do it. Now let me hear you say, big things poppin', and little things stoppin'. Big things poppin', and little things stoppin'. Big things poppin', and little things stoppin'. Ball on these suckers, shout it, lose, it's not an option now. Do it like a ball player when you see me ball, laying stacks, tall ball player from the stage to the air, whether in Miami, Cincinnati, or in Riverdale. Arizona, California, make it rain anywhere. Pulling out in public, shout it, who you think you finna scare? I send them missiles at you, how you going in your underwear? I told a pair of 40s on me, so you better tone it down. I suggest you just prepare yourself for when it going down. 8-Town, West Side Club, crew should catch me right up at the top, where big country drawing Mac B. Jack a line, say they caught me slipping, how could that be? I'm something like a stalker, I be here where the strap be, the trap be. Jumping with the $100 slab. If I want it, I could get 100 on the tail. Sell them all, double down, do the math. Think I won't pull up in something with 200 on the damn. When something's let me shed a little light on it. When something's cold, let me put a little fire on it. If something's old, I wanna put a bit of shine on it. When something's cold,
Welcome back to the junior men's competition here at P&G Championships presented by Pantene and Gillette. This is rotation number 3, and things are starting to heat up around here. This is Griffin Kaler up first on rings.
Actually had a question on Twitter about which of these guys have committed, what colleges are they going to go to. Obviously, Griffin's going to the University of Nebraska. We've got a couple Oklahoma guys out here. I'm not 100% sure where too many of the other guys are, but you'll see a few of the college guys wearing their college uniforms already, even though their first freshman year of competition hasn't even started yet.
At what age do men's gymnasts typically decide on a college?
It's pretty late, actually, 17, 18 years old. I know the recruiting process on the women's side starts a little bit earlier, but for the men, it's pretty late. You just don't know. The guys don't start developing to what they're really going to be in the sport until later in age. Good routine, though. Good, solid dismount, 1.5.
This is Khalil Jackson from Champions in Texas on P-bars. He's in 11th place after day 1 with a 12.1 score. Really hoping to get that execution from a 7.3 to above an 8.0.
Yeah, so far he's had some good skills. Did a couple peach elements, one with a half, which is very difficult, but just the execution just isn't quite there yet. He's been a little bit sloppy so far. Not quite hitting his handstands.
That's the approach we've been seeing a lot with these juniors, is throwing in a lot of difficulty, but not necessarily keeping up in execution.
Yeah, it was a good double pike dismount, though. Very well done. He's one of the taller gymnasts out here, so really has to kind of find a way to make things work that could be a little bit easier for the smaller guys.
This is Garrett Branton, who we've been following throughout the competition from Cyprus. He's leading the all-around after day 1.
Good traveling elements, back and forth. A little bit of a leg separation there. His knees are a little bit bent on those traveling elements, but fighting through it well. Just pressing up on that dismount. Nicely done. He's having a great day.
And he's one of those athletes that has a little bit lower start value, but really is trying to get every single execution 10th. This is Vitali Amira on floor for 52.80. Again, he was one of those athletes that got invited to the senior session and declined for this opportunity right here.
I think he's probably just trying to stay in his game, not change anything. He's a very stylish gymnast.
He's ranked 3rd on this event, and I'm impressed with that first pass.
Yeah, it was very nice, very high. You'll see the group of gentlemen standing behind him on the floor right now. That's actually the committee that will be selecting the junior national team. Also be selecting the senior national team and world team later on today. But they've got a front row seat to this next generation of star athletes here in the U.S.
And for the two,
this is one of the guys that they're definitely taking a look at.
Definitely. And for the 2 juniors that are competing in the senior session tonight, Lazarus, Barnell, and Kevin Penev, if they don't make the senior national team, they are still eligible to make the junior national team with their scores.
Yes, they're still 100% eligible to be junior national team members, and they just won't receive any junior awards.
This is Paul Judah from Buffalo Grove.
Some nice flare skills. It's called a spindle over 1 pommel. Very nice. We didn't see the beginning of their team, but I think he stayed on the whole way.
He is pumped. That was his lowest scoring event from day 1. He scored an 11.2 because of the execution, and I think it's going to be higher today.
Coming up on Colt Walker is Kamran Nelson. Group Gold at USA
This is Kamran Nelson from Hayden's on vault.
Up next on high bar for Gymnastics Olympica, Samuel Phillips.
Really taking some time to get the score out. Luckily, vault is, you don't really get iced too much on vaults.
We've been noticing a trend in the women's competition too. Vault has been a little bit slower in terms of scoring.
You would think it'd be the fastest one, but there's still a lot to look at. Yushchenko, 1.5.
Great
Right
form.
down the middle, good form.
Like the flare at the end. This is Riley Luce from Technique.
Up next on vault for wrestlers will be Leah Doherty Hurwitz.
Really want to focus on keeping your arms completely straight the entire times on P-bars. You see a few of these guys, like right there on that giant element, just bending the arms on his way to handstands, just a slight deduction.
Freeman of Cyprus on Pommels. Nehemiah Baker of Lipforce, North Carolina on ring.
Double tuck dismount, nice stuck landing. Well done. Seeing such a difference in just dismounts and landings, the way people are walking off the mat when the routines are over. It really is just so much nicer to see a confident group of athletes today.
This is Sam Phillips from Gymnastics Olympica on high bar. And I was going to say the same thing. I don't think we can harp on it enough in today's competition. We're not yet halfway through, but the difference that we've seen from day one is astronomical.
Absolutely, and that was, I loved his high bar routine from day one. He's just got such a dynamic type of swing. Those are release elements called Tkachevs. He did one in the stretch position, one straddled. Really fun athlete to watch.
I knew we both liked his routine, and it scored well too. He got a 13.25 after day one, and he's currently sitting in first place. Also one of the younger guys in the competition. And I noticed his demeanor, not just on this event before he approached the equipment, but on all 6 events. He looks like ice. Nothing is going to bother him. He's in his own zone, just like that.
Yeah, we got to call him the Iceman.
This is Max Andrushenko from Ohio State on rings.
Up next on high bar for high point will be David Willett. Evan Davis of Cyprus on Pommels.
Brodie Malone here. We're going to jump over to vault really quick. He is ranked 5th on this event. He's actually ranked 1st on 3 of the 6 events, and he's ranked 2nd on 2 events, and this is his lowest ranking event, and he's sitting in 5th place with a 13.9. His execution score, John, was a 9.1 after day one. I'm not sure what you can improve from a 9.1.
Yeah, I can't get much better than that. I mean, we just nice form in the air, looking for a stuck landing. It's the best you can ask for. They're definitely taking a ton of time on getting the scores out on vault right now. I'm not sure why. You know, like I said a minute ago, vault is more complicated than what people realize to judge. There's 3 different things that they're looking at. They're looking for the entry, what the body looks like as it hits the vault, what it looks like in the air, and then also they judge the landing. So 3 main things to look for. It happens really fast, but definitely shouldn't be taking this long to get the scores out.
We're expecting a great vault from him.
And, oh, that was about to be a massive score. Just a 3/10 step right there, but a good vault.
He knew
yeah,
it.
Almost had it.
This is John Chow from Cyprus competing on pommel horse.
Going up on pommel horse for Cyprus, John Chow.
And this is one of his best events. He actually goes by JR, and he very, very natural guy on pommel horse. That's the popular McCulloch that he just mounted with.
And he's currently ranked first in the 15 to 16-year-old division after day one with a 13.4.
He's got some solid difficulty in this routine. You can just see the difference in his pommel horse versus the other guys. Good extension the whole time. Spends a lot of time on one pommel and a good routine. And I think that will definitely probably keep him in first place on pommel horse. Haven't seen anything else that clean. Team Cyprus, we didn't show all the routines, but they just cleaned up on pommel horse. Those guys just nailed some good routines.
This is Daniel Yoon from Scats on rings. Sitting in 7th place after day one with a 13.15. And again, high execution on this event for him. After day one, he got an 8.85. And to me, that just says he's ready for those upgrades. He's ready to improve his start value.
Yeah, once you get that execution into the nines, it's time to add something else. The truth is in gymnastics, if you can have a point or less in deduction, you've mastered the routine. Good dismount, good routine. Again, not a lot to take off. It's
he's disappointed from that step.
Yeah, he wanted to stick that.
It's probably the biggest deduction in that routine, and he knows every 10th counts, especially on day two. This is Colt Walker from Acrotex. We actually had a Twitter question, John, and this one I'm gonna refer to you. What is the hardest men's event to compete? Is there one event that when you're done with it, you're like, thank goodness?
Well, I think it depends on the athlete. For me, it was always pommel horse. I felt like I was not in my own body when I got up on pommel horse in a competition. You know, some guys will say it's rings because it takes the most out of you, requires the most strength. I'd say the scariest one is high bar.
I was going to say, even though you were the best on high bar, that was your best event, is there a little bit more pressure because you know you need to deliver?
Oh, a little bit. I think, you know, what's scary about high bar is we're required to let go of a bar that's 10 feet off the ground and catch it again. And if you don't catch it, it's a huge deduction. You're going to be really disappointed if you don't.
So you're defying gravity is what you're saying.
Yes, and it's just, you know, sometimes it's a little terrifying.
Here on rings, and last up for this third rotation is Jan Inhaber Corsane. He had a little bit of trouble.
You see that
on
iron
day
cross? Yeah, just a little bit low on the cross. Would have liked to see him hold it a little longer. But we haven't seen a lot of the juniors attempt iron crosses or any of the hard strength elements. And like I said, a lot of it is just development. These guys haven't reached their peak strength yet. It takes a long time.
Yeah, he is specifically looking for redemption on this event. He lost 3/10.
Yeah, some kind of neutral deduction from his last routine. And you just see just kind of struggling. Maybe trying to push the envelope with some of that strength in the beginning. Made him tired for the end of the routine. But he's a young guy trying a lot of hard gymnastics, which is good to see.
This is Dylan Young from Gymnastics Olympica getting set for his high bar routine. Sitting in 12th place on this event after day one with a 12.5. And we're noticing a trend with the top 5 athletes in the all-around, and that is a little bit lower start values and extremely high execution scores. He's one of those athletes.
There's really 2 games you can play in this sport. It's, do I try a little bit less start value and really execute it perfectly, or do I go all out, try stuff that nobody else is doing, have huge difficulty and maybe make mistakes, and then you get those crazy combinations of people like Kohei Uchimura, who is arguably the best gymnast that has ever lived. That's got massive difficulty and perfect execution. You know, reminds me of also a guy like Sam McCulloch here in the U.S. Huge difficulty and does it so well. And this right now, so far, this has been really well executed high bar routine.
Well, it really depends on what the coach wants to teach first. Ultimately, we want to have a great execution and a high start value.
And that's that execution, you know, stuck landing, good routine, can't ask for more.
And that concludes another great rotation for these junior men on day 2. We'll be back for rotation 4. Welcome back to rotation number 4 here at the 2017 P&G Gymnastics Championships. We've been loving your feedback at Samantha Peshek, and this is at J_Horton. I know Christina asked what are the neutral deductions on some of the other events, and for example, Sam McCulloch actually got a neutral deduction on the first day of competition for using an extra mat on high bar. So little things like that, taking too long to jump back onto the equipment after you've had a fall. This is Garrett Branton from Cyprus on rings.
Just about every guy in this competition does those double fronts between the rings known as Yamawakis. You're allowed to do 2. You can do 1 in the piked position and 1 in the tucked position.
He's ranked first on this event after day 1 with a 13.55. And again, 9.15 execution.
Yeah, the big difference maker on rings for the juniors is that right there, that handstand position. It really separates. Whoa, what a nice routine. A great dismount, full twisting double layout. But back to the handstands. When you see a nice handstand versus one that kind of wobbles around, maybe the arms are bent, it really separates one guy from the other.
This is Vitali Amira from 5280 on pommel horse up next. He's coming into day 2 ranked 2nd. He's 4th on this event with a 12.4.
And again, you know, I keep talking about his line, just the style of this gymnast. And he's from 5280, trains with Vladimir Artemev, who is also the father of 2008 Olympian Alexander Artemev. And the style almost just kind of runs in the gym. You know, not his best routine, had a few mistakes, but again, we're seeing guys fight today. That's not what we saw day 1.
This is Riley Luz from Technique. Scored a 12.75 on this event on day 1. Came into this competition without Lazarus. All-around score, he's ranked 5th. We talk about certain guys, you in particular, that like to look at the scores and see who's in front of you and how many tenths you need to pass that person. After day 1's competition, do you always evaluate your scores and figure out how you're going to jump up in the rankings?
So, you know, everybody's a little bit different, but I'm one of those guys, I want to know exactly where I stand. And it's not that it's going to change my performance, but I don't know, I just like to see, is there a shot? Do I, like, what kind of attitude, what kind of game do I need to play today to get where I want to be? I was always a score watcher. My coaches always told me to not watch, but, you know, to each their own. Ooh, and got a little bit hung up in the middle of that dismount. Almost didn't complete that second half of the twist. You saw him, a little sense of relief there.
This is Max Yushchenko again for Ohio State, getting ready to compete on vault. He's sitting in 9th place after day 1 on this event with a 13.55, 8.75 execution.
Next on floor exercise for Gymnastics Olympica will be Samuel Phillips. Up next on pommel horse for Universal, Travis Wong.
And maybe they all watched their routines from day 1 and figured out where they can improve because, again, they look tremendously better than day 1.
You know, that's something that a lot of these guys, they do. They have their routines on video. They go back, they watch the review, take a look at their body language, their skills, their routines, everything. Just evaluate it, every little part, and go, okay, here's what I need to do different. And, man, he's definitely getting getting some time to think about this vault before he has to go.
It's getting iced out just a little bit.
Nice soup, double full. And just, you know, we're seeing a lot of those, and you can just see that so many of these guys are ready for an upgrade.
This is Travis Wong up next on Pommel Horse for Universal. And the nerves definitely had to come into play on day one, and there's two ways of handling your nerves. And you can forget about it and let the adrenaline excite you, or you can get so nervous because you want to do your best, just like Travis here.
And he, you know, he started out with a tough skill, something we haven't seen from anybody else. It's called a scissor to handstand, and just kind of lost control, and I think it got him a little flustered.
You know, I've never done a pommel horse routine, but I can only imagine when you mess up your rhythm just a little bit, it's that much harder to regain control the rest of your routine.
You know, especially when it's the very first skill you make a mistake on. Pommel horses, you nailed it. It's all about rhythm. If something starts off wrong, it's like you're playing catch-up the rest of the way through.
Now he's having to pick up right in the middle of his pommel routine.
He's got pretty good extension, nice elevation above the horse. And, yeah, just you'd like to see him go back to the chalk bucket, take his time, take a breath. You don't want to rush and get back up too soon. I was always taught, take the 30 seconds. You know, you don't want to jump off and jump right back up. You know, when you fall, it's not something you're used to doing. You got to take a step back and figure out what next.
I think even more than the time is wait till you're mentally prepared to jump up there and finish that routine strong.
Yeah, and you know, all he had left was a dismount. Not a good routine for him, and you know, he's not going to be too pleased with that, but
this is Paul Judah on rings, a replay from just moments ago.
A strength element called a straddle planche, done very well. Talked a little bit about it yesterday, or well, during prelims, what the judges are looking for in these static elements. It's a 2-second hold. You see some of these guys go even longer. It's okay to hold longer than 2 seconds, but less than 2 is a pretty major deduction.
It's a subjective sport. You never want to open that door for the judges to be able to take any deduction if you are holding it for at least 2 seconds.
You know, every judge down there is counting a little bit slower or a little bit faster. You better be the slowest one counting.
It's a good rule of thumb.
Nice routine, and you can see anytime you land and get the head nod, that's good.
And what a good weekend he's having. He actually scored a 13.45 on his ring set both days in a row, and that's what I really like about him. That's what stands out to me is the consistency we're seeing from him this weekend. This is David Patinka from Woga.
Nice element right off the top called a Yamawaki. Oh, another release, and it looked like he could have caught it. He just reached in the wrong spot. So one of the interesting rules in gymnastics now that's a fairly new rule is if you fall and you haven't stood up yet, the clock doesn't start ticking for your 30 seconds until you actually stand up. So had he fallen, stayed down, he, in theory, could stay down as long as he wants, but as soon as you get up on your feet, 30 seconds before you have to be back up on the apparatus.
30 seconds seems like a long time, but after you have had a fall and you're trying to A, mentally prepare, and B, re-chalk up over there, make sure the bar is set, it flies by.
It's the worst feeling in the world to fall and just be out of your element, and that 30 seconds flies by. It feels like 10.
It's way harder to get back up and finish your routine rather than just making it the first time. It's a good incentive.
It's a good finish, you know. Nice dismount, full twisting double layout. he'll go back and watch that release element again, and he'll see he just was on the bar, just reached in the wrong place.
This is Colt Walker, but David Patinka, that was one thing that I saw an improvement for, even though he did have a fall on high bar. He finished really strong. He was one of those gymnasts that was tending to spiral out of control on day one, and that's an improvement for him.
Yeah, just about everybody. It's been a big improvement. Well, not saying everybody was spiraling out of control, but everybody has made a big improvement just after a small mistake, being able to get back up, just finish the routine with a little more aggression than they were day one.
You're right. The overall culture and demeanor all across the board was completely different from day one. Spoke to Brett McClure yesterday, the high performance director and also a 2004 Olympian, and he said that the juniors will do better today, and so far he's been accurate.
Nice double front. Tons of power, almost too much. You see, out of bounds, but that was a really, really nicely done 2.5 to front half. Just overjuiced it.
He's tied for 4th on floor right now with a 13.2.
You know, it started out with some pretty big gymnastics. It's had a couple less difficult passes. See what he's gearing up for a dismount. Double full dismount. Yeah, you know, the team started out with a lot of difficulty, but, you know, really kind of played it safe towards the end. Hit a good routine.
This is John Chow from Cyprus on rings. We've been talking a lot today about the difference between execution and the technique and start values, but what do you think makes these juniors stand out skill-wise?
Well, you know, truth is there's not a lot of big-time skills being done, but that's to be expected. That's what the junior ranks is all about. Who can be clean and consistent? Every now and then you're going to get a guy that has a big standout skill, which has got some wow factor to it, but it's more than just how big of a skill is it's can you actually do it well. Now that's the difference between the juniors and seniors is seniors aren't only doing big skills, but they're doing them very well. And it just the sport is such a marathon. It takes so long to learn anything, to learn a new routine, and that was a good routine for JR.
This is Dylan Young from Gymnastics Olympica up next on floor.
You know, every now and then you just got to play in the chalk bucket.
Just hanging out
just
before his
hang
routine. You know, I wanted to ask you something. I feel like historically in men's gymnastics, you know, there's 6 events. That's 2 more than women's gymnastics. Historically, there's been guys that really do stand out on a couple events. They're just way better on those events, you know, the event specialist. And here in this junior session, I see so many more people that are solid across the board in the all-arounders. Has that been a focus for USA men's gymnastics?
Well, the all-around is so important right now because with the Olympics going to a 4-man squad, and there is a couple specialists that you can send now, but really it's a 4-man team. Everybody's going to need to be pretty good on all 6 events. There, you know, I think about, you know, those 2 specialist spots you're going to, you know, I'm not calling the Olympic team this early, but a guy like Alex Nador, who's, you know, currently the bronze medalist at the Olympics, you know, those spots are kind of for those individual guys that you're talking about. Oh, just over-rotated an Arabian double front. But it's going to be interesting. I don't know how it's going to happen, but yeah, to answer your question quickly, the all-around's really important right now. Everyone needs to be well-rounded.
And this competitor in particular, Dylan, was ranked 4th coming into day 2 of competition. That is not going to help his case. A fall is 1 point deduction.
Just really kind of struggling to get control, kind of hoppy in a way. You know, every now and then those press handstands can really get you if you don't take your time. Try to get to the handstand too quick. Anytime you wobble, anytime you move a hand, it's 10th, maybe 3/10 deduction. Double full dismount. Yeah, low with his chest. I don't know if he started getting tired towards the end, but
Looked like he ran out of steam just a little
yeah,
bit.
but a disappointing routine.
Now on high bar for champions Texas, Khalil Jackson. Coming up next,
This is Khalil Jackson from Champions up next on high bar. He's third on this event, coming into day 2.
Winding up, looks like he's going to do a Coleman. Very nice. First one of those that we've seen today. That's a skill that you'll see a lot among the seniors. Did it very well. Now, I mentioned on his parallel bar routine just kind of a lack of form, just some struggles with the execution. High bar is completely opposite. He's got great command of what he's doing. Nice form. This is a great routine if he can land it.
Wow, way above the bar.
That was an impressive high bar routine. Very well done.
I would like to know just how many feet he got above that bar. That's insane. This is Jeremy Bischoff from Waller Gym Jam. Up next on floor. Coming into day 2 of the competition, he sits 8th without Lazarus' all-around score. He scored a 13.1 on day 1 on this routine. Coach Raj Bhavsar is also an Olympian, and he said that this guy is going to be a star. He has all the ingredients that it takes, and he's really intelligent, and that's really a secret asset for him, is that he uses that to his advantage in gymnastics. He can tell if he's a little bit off or about to go out of bounds, and he saves it.
Got to be like a cat.
Yep. Make the best gymnast.
And you can see his coach, Raj Bhavsar, over there on the left. It's got to be a pretty good mental boost to know that you've got an Olympic medalist that's in the gym day in, day out, helping you accomplish your goals. You know, every one of these guys here, they've got that dream of becoming a world team member and an Olympic team member. It might give you a little bit of an edge to know that your coach is also an Olympian. He's already done that. He's got the experience.
And not only being his coach, he thinks so highly of him that he has what it takes to be at the highest level in this sport. And I think that's the biggest compliment you could give somebody.
next competition in the 4th rotation. Gymnasts may now advance to their 5th event in the P&G Championships for junior men.
This is Brodie Malone, a replay from earlier, his P-bar routine.
Nice skill called a Diamondov.
Another one of the consistent competitors in the competition. It's really paying off for him. Day 1 on this event, he got a 13.55, and he actually got a 13.5 on this event. And guess what? He's still leading the all-around.
Yeah, he's just very consistent across the board. Shows a lot of mastery of what he's doing. And that was a great P-bar routine to finish that rotation.
That concludes this rotation. We'll be back more soon. Welcome back to rotation number 5 here in the Honda Center. This is the last 2 events of this 2-day competition. This is Riley Luce. First up on floor.
Oh, very nicely done. Difficult pass. Front double full to front full.
Sitting in 5th place coming in to this day 2 competition.
Just to point out again, you'll notice a lot of the guys before they move on to the next element, they land and they very clearly make sure that they show the judge that they can get their heels together. That's a little bit high on that wide arm press, but it's actually a 1/10 error now. If you don't show that you land with control and put your heels together at the end of every single tumbling pass. See if he shows it again. Heels, there it is.
And it's better to overshow the judges than to quickly move past that in case they, blink or something.
2.5. Good routine, no major errors.
Well, he's 3rd on this event, so that's really going to help his case. This is Paul Judah from Buffalo Grove. Up next on vault.
They souk double full and nails it.
Wow.
That's how you want to do that vault.
I gotta be honest, I was a little nervous seeing the entry of that vault. He had such bent arms, but ended up getting enough block and finishing the vault.
It was, it wasn't huge. He didn't get massive lift, but it was clean and he stuck it. And that's all you got to do. There's no rule that says you have to fly high and flip higher than anybody else or go further than anybody else. That's an old rule from, many quadrenniums ago. Now it's, can you do the vault well and can you stick it?
This is Travis Wong from Universal and Rings.
And a little bit short on that front giant. You want to keep those arms completely locked the whole way through. You can see on some of those Yamawaki elements between the rings also is bending his arms there.
He's also one of those athletes in the competition that has an extremely low start value on this event, and it's really hurting him in terms of being competitive with the other athletes here.
Well, we can't see Yin, his coach, Yin Alvarez, but I can hear him. He's always excited.
This is Max Andrushenko, who we've been following throughout the competition.
And, well, what's interesting is his coach standing right there in the red and gray is Rustam Sharipov, one of the legends on parallel bars, 1996 Olympic gold medalist on P-bars. I don't know, I think I'd feel a little pressure doing a P-bar routine in front of him.
And this is the event where he can improve. He only got a 6.1 execution score on day 1. Looking for a hit set, looking for a clean set here.
That's a skill we haven't seen too many of. It's called a Healy.
This could potentially put him in medal contention.
Yeah, not a ton of difficulty so far. A couple errors, but working through it. Double pike, good dismount.
And what an improvement from day 1. It's also going to help his all-around score. This is Liam Doherty Hurwitz on high bar.
Ooh, and had to really bend his arms and tuck his legs to get out of that. I think I would have done something called a kip change, which is just another way of getting back to the giants when you catch that close on a release element.
This is actually his highest ranked event after day 1. He's tied for 8th with a 12.25.
Here comes his dismount. Full twisting double layout. Very popular dismount that we've seen today from a lot of guys. We've seen a lot of stuck landings on high bar today.
This is Spencer Goodell for Omega on rings next. And yeah, I really don't think that we can, it's just such a drastic change from day 1 to day 2. Not only a fewer amount of falls, but also there are so many more sticks. There's so much more polish in this arena.
Well, you and I both have a lot of experience as well competing at this competition. I mean, I'm sure you have felt the day 1 over relief. It's like, regardless of what happens, good or bad, it's like, okay, I got through it. Let's continue on day 2. Like, it's, you know, day 2 is kind of a make or break, but there's something about being done with that first day. It just feels like the weight of the world is off your shoulders.
You're exactly right. You train every single day, so that's no problem. But mentally preparing for a competition, you don't typically have 2 meets in 1 weekend. And so if you're a newbie here, it's really overwhelming to think that you have to mentally be prepared, not for the first one, but for both days. And sometimes you try and pace yourself instead of, you know, giving it all you got on day 1, saving a little bit for day 2. I think the thing that helped me learn to put it out on the floor on day 1 is knowing that there's always adrenaline that can carry you through on this day 2.
Yep. And so far, it's been pretty universal. Every one of the guys on rings has done very, very similar routines. We just continue to see the same, you know, front doubles between the rings, a couple giant elements, and then a dismount. Pretty typical for the juniors. Every now and then you get a standout guy that is mega strong at a young age. But every one of these guys in a developmental phase right now in their career. A good, solid ring routine.
This is Colt Walker finishing his routine on pommel horse.
Well, we didn't see a whole lot of that one, but
the
hey,
smile
good
indicates
dismount.
a lot. That's all I gotta say, especially on pommel horse. When the guys can walk away with a smile, you can expect it to be good.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes I used to find myself falling 2-3 times on pommel horse, and you might as well walk away with a smile because there's nothing you can do about it.
That is true. That is true. This is Joshua Davis on floor for Woga. He's ranked 13th on this event after day 1. Kevin Penev, who's actually going to be competing in tonight's session, is ranked 1st after day 1 in the juniors with a 14.2, and that's really comparable to an athlete in the senior session.
Yeah, as you know, it's been pretty clean, consistent routine so far. Got a little bit squirrely on that last tumbling pass. He did 2.5 to front half, but good finish, nice double full. Not a whole lot to, you know, compared to day 1, not really a whole lot to talk about with what these guys are doing in terms of, you know, it's like, oh, he fell there, this is why it happened. It's they're just kind of doing their job. They're doing their routines the way they're supposed to be done. And I almost feel like a broken record. Hey, good routine, good routine, good routine, but it's been just a good day for these guys.
This is Dylan Young hoping for another good event. Exactly like what you're saying. It's been a great day across the board, but again, it really shows their inexperience in terms of consistency when they can't hit 2 days in a row, and that's what they're going to try and learn from this experience and hopefully put 2 days back-to-back, no falls.
And I love his circle. It's just legs are glued together, such a nice shape. Short routine, but really well done.
This is Garrett Branton from Cyprus, getting ready for vault. Scored a 13.35. And check this out. He actually got a 9.5 execution score.
Yep, actually stuck his vault. Yep, stuck it the first day. Vault is not easy to stick. Let's see if he can do it 2 days in a row.
And if you remember correctly, we were both extremely impressed. He knew exactly where the floor was. He opened up at the right time and was able to absorb the floor and, take 0 steps, essentially. This is Griffin Kaler from the University of Nebraska for P-bars.
You'll notice the pads that he has on his arms. Some of these guys, as they start to do harder elements where they land on their biceps, the wood on the bars really does tear up your skin. And you see a few guys wear pads, especially the seniors that will be competing later today. There's that element right there. Just killer. Does not feel good at all.
Ranked 6th after day 1 competition on this event.
Double pike. Good solid routine.
This is Vitali Amira up next on rings from 52.80. Again, still riding that 2nd place coming into this 5th event. He scored a 13.45 on rings day 1, and he's ranked 3rd on this event.
I mean, you could just see the difference in even that element right there. Just called a straddle L press to handstand. He is one of those guys that you can just see the separation and style. Legs just glued together. I mean, he landed that with his feet together, which is tough to do. He's got a really nice look. You see, everybody's got a little bit different way that they like to get the P-bars ready.
What's going on with the towel? What does that do?
You know what? I never used a towel on P-bars. I don't know if he was trying to take chalk off or get the bars dry.
Says Michael Fletcher.
Nice to pelt. Double tuck. Oh, almost over-rotated. Was able to get his foot behind him to save it the last second.
We have a couple more replays for you coming up. I know I was excited to see Garrett Bronton's vault right here.
Big cause. Very nice, Souk full.
I think he's got it down.
Not a real difficult vault, but another 9.5 in execution. Can't ask for anything better than that.
It's impressive. This is Brodie Malone on high bar. One more replay for you in this rotation.
Beautiful stretch to Tkachev. Followed by a straddle to Tkachev. I've been very impressed with these last 2 guys that we're getting to watch a replay, Brodie and Garrett. Just really strong competitors.
Well, he was ranked 1st coming in to day 2, and he actually scored more than 3/10 higher than day 1. So I think he's still going to be sitting in that 1st place spot on high bar, and that really does conclude rotation number 5. We have one more rotation for you coming up next.
night. All the people that you see in the night, and all the dreams up into the light. When the pieces are setting beside, we are not going out. Can you see the Joker flying over? As she's standing in the field of clover, watching her every day. What would happen if we took her she's no good with words, but I'm worse. But started out a joke of a romantic stuck to my tongue. Way down with words too over dramatic. Tonight is it can't get much worse. Worse, no one should ever feel like I'm 2 quarters and a heart down, and I don't wanna forget how your voice sounds. These words are all I have, so write them. So you need them just to get by. Dance, dance, we're falling apart to have time. Dance, dance, these are the lives that you love to lead. Dance, this is the way they love. If they knew how misery loved me. You always fold just before you found out. Drink up, it's last call, last resort, but only the first mistake. And I'm 2 quarters and a heart down, and I don't wanna forget how your voice sounds. These words are all I have, so write them. So you need them just to get by. Won't you show me little bit of spark you've been saving for his mattress? Dance, dance, we're falling apart to have time. Dance, dance, these are the lives you love to lead. Dance, this is the way they love. If they knew how misery loved me. Why don't you show me the little bit of spark you've been saving for his mattress? I only want sympathy in the form of you crawling into bed with me. Dance, dance, we're falling apart to have time. Dance, dance, these are the lives you love to lead. Dance, this is the way they love. Dance, this is the way they love. Dance, dance, we're falling apart to have time.
Welcome back to the final rotation of Day 2 Junior Men's P&G Championships presented by Pantene and Gillette. This is Max Andrushenko for his very last competitive routine on high bar. He's currently ranked 5th going into his last event. He's down from 4th place from a 10th and a half.
Always feels good to be on your 6th event of Day 2 It's a long weekend, a lot of gymnastics. And every one of these guys is just going, man, just want to get through this well and take a break because it is grueling.
He scored a 13.15 on day one and has the potential to score even higher with a better execution score.
And again, just one after another.
He knew he needed a good hit routine.
Yeah.
What a gamer.
And nothing too flashy, just playing the game. And you know, I think that's what everybody's doing right now. They finally have, well, finally, it's the last event, last day, but everybody's just so calm at this point. And they're doing what they train every single day. And that's always the goal, but it's easier said than done.
This is Travis Wong really having a tough time on his last couple events.
Yeah, I got a really weird push off the top of the vault.
He looks a little bit tired to
Yeah,
me. He's running out of steam in the competition. This is David Patinka wanting to finish the meet on a high note here on pommel horse.
Some nice single pommel elements. Anytime you see someone spend a lot of time on one pommel like that, I call it just kind of camping out on one pommel, racking up a lot of extra bonus. Those are difficult skills.
Even though he's 17th in the all-around after day one, he's 3rd on this event.
Yeah, he's got a nice pommel horse routine. That had a few weird mistakes in there. Dismount got kind of funky, but he's got a lot of big skills, a lot of big elements.
This is Kamran Nelson from Hayden's up next on floor. Trying to make his mark here in the junior men's session of the P&G Gymnastics Championships.
Big double-double, a little sloppy in the air, but that's a weird mistake. I'm kind of curious if the judge raised the flag. I didn't see, but just not paying attention. There's a little bit of kind of stuff that you get in the junior session.
You know, the rule is if your foot steps outside of the floor, it doesn't specifically state after your tumbling pass, so he could very well have gotten a deduction.
Yeah, 1/10 error for just not paying attention, really. And again, I mean, I looked over and saw he raised the yellow flag. Just
he's going to be kicking himself when he gets off the floor and realizes that he got a little bit too close to that edge.
Man, I mean, he almost did it again. I mean, I don't know if it's something that he just typically does and no one's told him, hey, quit bouncing around in the corners, but
he either doesn't know or is not too concerned about it yet.
Yeah. A nice triple full dismount. He's going to look back on that routine and go, man, I think I lost like 2-3 tenths for no reason at all.
This is Evan Davis. Max Andruschenko, we saw his high bar set. He actually scored a 13-0.
Big double pike. You know, I kind of like that angle that we're watching P-bars. You can really see the bright lights in the arena. And it's something I don't know a lot of our viewers realize. When you're competing in this massive arena with really bright lights and cameras in your face, it's a little intimidating.
I'm so glad you said something, and now that we're retired, I really didn't think about that at all, but you are definitely right. That's always a factor that plays in to the P&G Championships. The lights are so bright, and we're trying to catch a bar and you can't see it. It's a guessing game.
Yep.
And you just hope that you're guessing for the right bar.
And it's just one more thing for these guys to get used to since they've never been in this situation. Well, some of them have, but a lot of these guys are first-year P&Gs. I mean, these arenas are massive. They hold thousands of people. The ceilings are way up high. The lights are way brighter than what you're going to get out of a gym anywhere in the country. And it's almost uncomfortable at first.
This is Colt Walker for his final event on rings. Scored a 13.45 day one.
That's a difficult strength element. We haven't seen very many of those. That's a legs together planche. We've seen a lot of those in the straddle position, but when you put your legs together, it's extraordinarily more difficult. There's a straddle one. You're allowed to do both. And what's tough about doing more difficult, more strength elements in the beginning, the handstands at the end. I know I talked a lot about handstands. Nice routine, good stuck dismount. But what happens is everything else starts to break down towards the end of the routine. You're just exhausted. Your muscles are fatigued. As a difficult ring routine, especially on the last day, last event, he did a great job with it.
This is Vitali Amira is finishing up his meet on vault. Again, one of those gymnasts that we've really been impressed with the past 2 days of competition. Sitting in second place on this event with a 14.15. He had a 1/10 neutral deduction. Can guess it's probably from going a little bit crooked or stepping outside the line.
Yep. Not today, right down the middle. Gorgeous Yushchenko double full. Yeah, I think he's ready for 2.5.
I think so too. We're looking at Dylan Young up next on rings. Scored a 12.95 after the first day of competition. He's ranked 8th in this event. He's from Burbank, California, 17 years old. He was first in the all-around at the 2017 National Qualifier.
It's important when you hit those positions to hit it right away. You don't really want to move too much. Kind of hit that straddle planche, dropped his feet down, brought him back up. It's a slight error. Little bit of bent arms on the giant. Again, these, you know, I always call rings is really easy to 1/10 yourself to death. Every single time you bend your arms a little bit or wobble a little bit, it's 1/10, 1/10, 1/10. And that's the challenge of that event. It's so easy to lose a lot, but you never lose a lot in one place. It's one little error throughout the routine.
This is Brodie Malone on floor, finishing up his competition, trying to hold on to that first place.
So far, doing a good job. Nice double layout. 2.5 front, punch front half.
Well, after the first day, he scored a 13.7. He's ranked 2nd. Kevin Penev was leading floor, but of course he's competing in the senior session tonight, so Brodie Malone is actually in the lead after day 1.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that's the second front half that we saw him do. I'm not sure. You're not allowed to repeat an element.
I'm sure before this routine, he knows he's still in first place. He's trying his best to hold on to it, but it's really tough mentally to stay in your own zone and to focus on the routine you have.
And I think that's going to help him keep that position. That was a good routine. Back triple full. Coach looks excited.
This is Ian Gunther from Cyprus on P-bars.
Ian's very good on parallel bars.
He's ranked 3rd after the first day of competition with a 12.9.
Nice big to pelt. This has been a very nice routine. So controlled from skill to skill. Double tuck dismount. That's going to put up a big score for him. That was great.
He had some trouble on the earlier events, but it's nice to always finish on a really good note. This is Griffin Kaler, excuse me.
Next on parallel bars for Cyprus will be Garrett Branton.
Straddle Planche with a half. We haven't seen any of those today. Actually required to be completely turned before your body gets to the bottom of the bar. I'm not sure if he was.
It's possible to count the skill, but just take a little bit bigger of an execution deduction.
Yeah, just probably be a slight deduction. Another full twisting double layout. I thought we were going to get another stick out of that.
I think he could have had it, but what a day for Griffin Kaler. This is Garrett Branton on P-bars. And we're looking for one good, solid routine from Garrett.
These guys had such a great day. Just got to finish strong. Nobody wants to go out on a bad routine. That was a nice skill called a bobstar.
He's tied for 5th after day 1 on this event.
Oh, a little bit short on that stutz. Supposed to go to handstand. Double pike, and you know he made a pretty good mistake in the middle of that routine on one of the upper bar scales, and I can tell he's a little upset about it, but he was so consistent and just stayed the course, did a great job this week.
This is Dante McKinney finishing up his ring set.
Nice front double pike. We haven't seen too many of those. Very difficult dismount. It's a completely blind landing. I know we didn't see the beginning of the routine, but tough dismount.
Our last and final competitor on P-bars is Paul Judah, who came into this second day of competition ranked 2nd in the all-around and 2nd on this event.
Got some excited parents back there. You know, it's you know, bring up another challenge of competing in the junior session. You know, it's a massive arena, and there's people here, but it's not quite what you're going to get out of the seniors and when the women compete. And you know, the energy isn't always super high. You have to kind of create it yourself. And you know, I think you know, even in a smaller arena where most of these guys are used to competing in, like JO Nationals and the qualifier, it feels like there's a lot of people because it's small. And by the way, that was a great bobstar he just did. But, you know, taking a look at it, it's nice to have some excited people in the stands rooting on the juniors, because these guys, they're the next generation. They're going to be the next rock stars, superstars, the guys that we see at the Olympic Games one day.
And even though he's only 16 years old, he does have some international competitive experience. He competed at the University of Calgary International Cup.
And a good routine. He's excited about that one. He had some really nice underbar elements.
This is Krug Gold finishing up his competition on rings, and it was really great. We had the opportunity to speak with his parents before the competition, and they said he had some mistakes on day 1, but it was all because of nerves, and he's ready to go out and have an even better day today, and that's what we've been seeing across the board.
Cool story about Krug. He cut his hair for the first time ever 2 weeks ago. For the first time, it was all the way down his back. He says, you know what? Time to get serious with gymnastics. I'm here on the big stage.
And his dad said that right now, the notion of him cutting his hair is really symbolic of him becoming more serious with this sport, and I think that's a really great way to wrap up the second day of the junior men's competition here in the Honda Center. And we will be back soon with the standings.
Consider this your personal invitation to join us in honoring these gymnasts with a medal ceremony for each apparatus and the all-around P&G champion. But first, coming up next, a special presentation as we join USA Gymnastics in honoring the Men's Junior Olympic Coach of the Year.
Tried to cut these corners, tried to take the easy way out. I kept on falling short of something. I could have gave up then, but then again I couldn't have, 'cause I've traveled all this way for something. I take it in, but don't look down. 'Cause I'm on top of the world, eh? I'm on top of the world, eh? Been waiting on this for a while now. I've been waiting to smile, been holding it for a while, take you with me if I can, been dreaming of this since a child, I'm on top of the world. I'm on top of the world, I'm on top of the world, waiting on this for a while now, paying my dues to the dirt. I've been waiting to smile, been holding it for a while, take you with me if I can, been dreaming of this since a child. And I know it's hard when you're falling down, and it's a long way up, and you make the ground, but get up now, get up now. And I know it's hard when you're falling down, and it's a long way up, and you make the ground, but get up now, get up now. 'Cause I'm on top of the world. I'm on top of the world, waiting on this for a while now. Paying my dues to the earth. I've been waiting this long, but you hold me there for a while. Take you with me if I can. Dreaming of this to the earth. I'm on top of the world. It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here. You can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like the room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got, don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like the room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do.
Hey gymnastics fans, and welcome back. We are excited to tell you the standings. It's been a really great and fun 2 days here at the junior men's session. The all-around standings for the 15 and 16-year-old all-around division. In first place is Garrett Branton with a 157.25. In second place is Paul Judah with a 156.75. In third place is Riley Lewis with a 154.5. And in the 17 to 18-year-old division, the all-around, in first place is Brodie Malone with a 162.1. In second place is Vitali Amira with a 158.15. And in third place is Max Andrushchenko with a 153.7. It's been a really crazy 2 days. We saw a shift in the competition from day 1 to day 2. But I want to know, what were you most impressed with overall?
Well, first, if everybody's wondering why we're in the dark right now, it's because all these great athletes, after a long, great week of gymnastics, they are receiving their awards as we speak. They are lit up on the floor. The guys are excited. But, you know, I'm going to throw out a few names, guys that I was really, really impressed with. Obviously, our winners. Brodie Malone did a great job, very consistent, cool competitor, just really impressed me. And also Garrett Branton, just kept doing his thing over and over and over again, sticking landings, hitting great routines. And then also I do want to mention Vitali Amira, who has such a clean line, such a good look. It's going to be for him as he moves up in the sport, becomes a senior, and starts competing internationally. He has that look that the judges really enjoy internationally. So be on the lookout for all those guys. We've got a bright future for USA Men's Gymnastics.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as we did. We know there was a lot of fresh faces, but I don't think it's the last time you are going to see these guys. So thank you for letting us call this meet. Make sure you tweet us and let us know what you think. I will actually be back here tomorrow with Jordan Weaver commentating the second day of the junior women's competition. It's going to be at 11 p.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern time, so make sure you check back then.
At this time, we present the individual event awards for the junior men's competition of the 2017 P&G Gymnastics Championships. We begin the award ceremony with the presentation of awards on floor exercise. And now your top 3 among 15 and 16-year-old gymnasts. Finishing in third place for Cyprus, Jack Freeman. Winning the silver medal in second place for technique, Riley Lewis. The 2017 P&G Gymnastics Championships floor exercise champion, winning the gold medal from Cyprus, Garrett Branton. There they are, your 2017 P&G Gymnastics Championships floor exercise medalists. And now the presentation of floor exercise awards for 17 and 18-year-old gymnasts. In third place, earning the bronze medal for University of Nebraska, Griffin Kaler. Winning the silver medal in second place for 5280 gymnastics, Vitali Amira. The 2017 P&G Gymnastics Championships floor exercise champion, winning the gold medal from Cartersville Twisters, Brodie Malone. Here they are, your 2017 P&G Gymnastics Championships floor exercise medalists. And now the presentation of awards for pommel horse. In third place among 15 to 16-year-olds, representing Gymnastics Olympica, the bronze medalist Dylan Young. Winning the silver medal in second place for Woga, David Patinka. The 2017 P&G Championships Pommel Horse champion, winning the gold medal from Cyprus, John Chow. There they are, your 2017 P&G Gymnastics Championships Pommel Horse champions. Here come your 17 to 18-year-old pommel horse medalists. In third place, earning the bronze medal from 5280 Gymnastics, Vitali Amira. Winning the silver medal in second place for New England Academy, Michael Fletcher. The 2017 P&G Championships Pommel Horse champion, winning the gold medal from Cartersville Twisters, Brodie Malone. There are your 2017 P&G Gymnastics Championships Pommel Horse champions. We continue now with the presentation of awards on still ring, starting with 15 to 16-year-olds. We have a tie for second place, earning silver medals with identical scores for Acrotech's Colt Walker. And from Buffalo Grove, Paul Judah. The 2017 P&G Championship Still Rings champion, winning the gold medal from Cyprus, Garrett Branton. There are your 2017 P&G Championships Still Rings medalists. And now the presentation of Still Rings Awards for 17 and 18-year-old gymnasts. In third place, winning the bronze medal from 5280 Gymnastics, Vitali Amira. Winning the silver medal in second place for Cartersville Twisters, Brodie Malone. The 2017 P&G Championship Still Rings champion, winning the gold medal from Ohio State University, Max Andriushenko. There they are, your 2017 P&G Championship Still Rings medalists. We continue with the presentation of awards on vault for 15 and 16-year-old gymnasts. In third place and earning the bronze medal from Buffalo Grove, Paul Judah. Winning the silver medal in second place from Triumph, Dante McKinney. The 2017 P&G Championships Vault Champion, winning the gold medal from Technique, Riley Luce. There are your 2017 P&G Gymnastics Championships Vault medalists. And now the presentation of Vault Awards for 17 and 18-year-old gymnasts. We have a tie for second place, earning silver medals for South Lake, Morgan Seiler. And for Champions Texas, Khalil Jackson. The 2017 P&G Championships Vault Champion, winning the gold medal from 52-80 Gymnastics, Vitali Amira. There are your 2017 P&G Gymnastics Championships Vault medalists. And now the awards for 15 to 16-year-olds on parallel bars. In third place, we have a tie for second. Winning silver medals for Woga, David Pochinka. And for Buffalo Grove, Paul Judah. The 2017 P&G Championships Parallel Bars Champion, winning the gold medal from Cyprus, John Chow. There they are, your 2017 P&G Gymnastics Championships Parallel Bars medalists. And now the presentation of Parallel Bars Awards for 17 and 18-year-old gymnasts. In third place, winning the bronze medal from Cyprus, Ian Gunther. Winning the silver medal in second place from Scats, Daniel Yoon. The 2017 P&G Championships Parallel Bars Champion, winning the gold medal from Cartersville Twisters, Brodie Malone. There they are, your 2017 P&G Gymnastics Championships Parallel Bars medalists. And now the presentation of awards on horizontal bar for 15 and 16-year-old gymnasts. Finishing in third place and earning the bronze medal for Buffalo Grove, Paul Judah. Winning the silver medal in second place for Cyprus, Jack Freeman. The 2017 P&G Championships horizontal bar champion, winning the gold medal for Gymnastics Olympica, Samuel Phillips. There are your 2017 P&G Gymnastics Championships high bar medalists. And now the presentation of high bar awards for 17 and 18-year-old gymnasts. In third place, winning the bronze medal from Champions Texas, Khalil Jackson. Winning the silver medal in second place from 5280 Gymnastics, Vitali Amira. The 2017 P&G Championships high bar champion, winning the gold medal from Cartersville Twisters, Brodie Malone. There they are, your 2017 P&G Gymnastics Championships horizontal bar medalists. And now we continue with the presentation of the all-around awards for the junior men's competition of the 2017 P&G Gymnastics Championships. On behalf of USA Gymnastics, presenting the all-around awards, please welcome our award presenters. The Vice President of the men's program, Dennis McIntyre. And the men's JO program coordinator, Dusty Ritter. We begin with the presentation of all-around awards, starting with 15 and 16-year-old gymnasts. With a total all-around score of 154.5, in third place, earning the bronze medal from Technique Gymnastics, Riley Luce. Finishing in second place with a score of 156.75, winning the silver medal, representing Buffalo Grove, Paul Judah. The 2017 P&G Championships all-around champion, winning the gold medal with a top score of 157.25 from Cyprus, Garrett Branton. There they are, your 2017 P&G Gymnastics Championships all-around medalists. Riley Luce, Paul Judah, and Garrett Branton, your P&G Gymnastics Championships all-around medalists. And now the presentation of all-around awards for 17 and 18-year-old gymnasts. With a total all-around score of 153.7, winning the bronze medal, representing Ohio State University, Max Andriushenko. Finishing in second place with a score of 158.15, winning the silver medal, from 52-80 Gymnastics, Vitali Amira. The 2017 P&G Championships all-around champion, winning the gold medal with a score of 162.1. From Cartersville Twisters, Brodie Malone. Max Andriushenko, Vitali Amira, and Brodie Malone, your 2017 P&G Gymnastics Championships all-around medalists. This concludes today's junior competition of the 2017 P&G Gymnastics Championships. We hope you'll join us tonight for the senior men's competition. Doors open at 4, and you won't want to miss the junior and senior women's finals taking place tomorrow. The junior women's competition first up tomorrow at 11, followed by the senior women's tomorrow afternoon at 3:30. Doors will open at 10 and 2:30 respectively. We thank you for your support of USA Gymnastics and look forward to seeing you again soon. Safe travels, everyone.